Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of Royal Institute of Canada, broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage, and your host, Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. Today I picked up a topic, visiting a real estate open house. So you have understanding of entering into a house that is represented by a listing brokerage who have a seller representation or designated seller representation with the brokerage. Conventionally, in the past, prior to TRESA came effective on 1 December 2023, people used to come to the open house. They frequently ask questions and many things that is not now available. Because we used to have a customer service at that time, which TRESA has eliminated the customer service. Now, I will want to make you a little bit understand, you have two way of dealing with real estate professionals. And before we go to the open house, first, when you are going to an open house, the seller is represented by the brokerage or a designated person has signed as a designated seller representation agreement, which allows them, with the consent of the seller, to do open houses, marketing strategy, whatever is included in their buyer designation or a seller designation representation agreement. So this is very clear. The person who is conducting the open house is representing the interest of the seller, whether it's a designated or the brokerage. That means everybody's. For example, you nominate me as your seller representative, so I am your designated seller representative for listing their property. As you know that the RICO is a regulator, and under TRESA, there is an encouragement to avoid multiple representation. So that means, in the best interest of the buyer should be independently represented by a buyer, broker, sale agent, or the brokerage. So when you are entering into an open house, you're not familiar with RICO information guide, which I have many episodes I have mentioned to you and share with that explain the relationship that you're going to develop, because seller already have representation and their agent is representing them. So when the buyer is going in there could be some restriction or some guidelines or protocol to when you enter into somebody's house. So those are information that's discussed with the seller, and seller in writing give instruction to the listing or seller designated representation or seller representation with the brokerage how to conduct an open house. Because when they are allowing some visitor to a private property, so you have to follow the guidelines of the seller's agent or the broker. People used to come, even now, everybody who has come to my open house, everybody immediately want to know what price that seller is willing to sell, not knowing that there is a new law which requires them to be hired by a brokerage, either listing brokerage another person designated, or cooperating broker, or alternative to these, or it's going to be self-represented party. So the first thing that I have always done is to have a RICO guideline available. So first 1 or 2 minutes, I advise the buyer there is a RICO information guideline. This gives you options to hire a brokerage, or you can designate a person to represent you as a buyer, or you can be a self-represented party. And there are some disclosure requirement. Now, every property that somebody comes to my office, to the open house, I tell them they need to identify themselves. There are reasons for that. You don't want an unidentified person going through the property and you don't know the whereabout, and there's a strict, and they need to register on the open house registry. This is a minimum. Identify yourself. If you want to visit before even you go out and you want to go out, you must agree to that. So I have a display outside the open house that says that if you have a realtor, please come back with a realtor, because this is a public open house. Number two, you need to be identified for safety. And then you have to register the guests. There are a couple of reasons for that. The reason being is security of the seller, because they want to know who came. And most importantly, let's assume that somebody visit a property and is sick. It doesn't disclose that, even though there is no requirement, but maybe sick, and there is a virus, and you are not able to notify them if there is a medical emergency in the province of Ontario. So it's important to have a communication with them so they can register, and also give confidence to the seller. The person who's coming is a serious person who want to see the property. And other thing is, lots of people I have noticed that they try to take a picture, so we have to tell them, no, they cannot take the picture. And this is the protocol when you are visiting an open house. We are not talking about representation yet. We're going to talk about that. This is before you step in. Instructions should be displayed outside, and I have done that, and quite a few people said, we've been to so many open houses, nobody has asked for this information that you are. And I said to them, what will happen if you want me to list your property for sale, and people are coming and going through open house and I have no record of that? Am I doing my job as a competent professional under TRESA? No, I am not. So you're tying my hand, and if you not going to like it, same as my client. He does not allow anyone. So I have to refuse people who do not identify and also do not register. They're not allowed. Okay? And I notify all information about the visitor, who came in, how many came in, what are the interests they're showing. Number two, you have to know one thing, that I have no obligation if I'm doing an open house to you, because I am protecting the interest of my client seller. Therefore, any information that you share with me, I will be sharing with my client, because I have to act in their interest until you decide what you want to do. So we will give you general information. Once you have registered, you have verified your address on your mostly driver license, Then we tour you around the property. And we have always advised our client not to put any expensive, unique stuff in the house, put them in a locker somewhere. And so when people come in and show them the house. When you have more than 2, 3 people coming in there, you might have to lock the door and limit them and manage them. And sometimes you ask the associate to come and join you. Now, during this people, in the past, people ask about opinion, advice, some, provide some services. Those are now prohibited. You either a client of the brokerage or you are not. There is no customer service. So when you are pretending that you want to get information from a brokerage or give you opinion, what you want to offer, what you want to do, what are your terms and conditions, anything that you as a buyer share with the listing brokerage, the person who's conducting the open house, then that information will go to the seller because you have not signed any buyer representation agreement, whether it's a designated buyer representation or not. So this thing is in a short period of time that you are visiting, and you cannot make a decision. You need to show the interest in the property after seeing it, and you need to have one-to-one conversation. And the most importantly, when they give me the information about the open house, I take their consent and get an email. Then I will email on through RICO website, rico.on.ca, go there and send them brochure. Therefore, I have a record that I have sent them brochure. And it's not about just sending the broker. The RICO information guide is explaining them, understanding them, giving them the opportunity to explore all the options, what is in the best interest of their client. So let them make the decision. So then you set up an appointment and you will discuss about that property. But when you are going to open house, you just can't go say, okay, I can offer you this. I want to know what the square footage are. General information, I always provide lot sizes, above grade, and finished basement information. I always give exactly what that is. But it's very important for you. You want to check the zoning, you want to check whether basement is a legal basement apartment or not. Is the setbacks are okay, the fencing is within the boundary line, many aspects. Or somebody talk about the mortgage, because I am also principal broker of Canada Express Mortgage Inc. license number 13241. So I can give you opinion about that too. I don't do normally these residential mortgages. My focus is always commercial and private lending, complex matters, because the bank give you a better rate, and I recommend that you go to your private lender and the bank, and get the best deal you can. But there are circumstances where someone will need special assistance because you may not qualify and you have emergency, or you have a need that can only be met through to the private lending. For example, you have no more income. You have lots of equity you can draw as a reverse mortgage, or you draw some money against your home equity line, and you have the ability to pay back in a certain period of time. For example, you're trying to sell your house and you need some money until your house is sold, so you can borrow that. If the bank doesn't give you, you can borrow it privately, and you can call me 416-451-3489. I can guide you on that, how it's done. So when you are asking so many questions, when you talk about mortgage, I am fortunately a principal broker. I have a license, so I can give you opinion about that. But you need to have sit-down conversation. First start with the RICO information guideline. So then they go through it. There are 12, 13 pages, and they have to acknowledge that. I recently have a listing that's coming up I believe 9th of May in Niagara Falls. I went through all this. I gave them a draft designated seller representation. So she called me and she said, yes, I want you to list it in Niagara Falls. You know why? I spent 3.5, 4 hours explaining the RICO information guide. And after that, we talk about the sold properties, available property, and comparison, projections, a trend of real estate, the interest rate, and what's happening, affordability. And this property has no, specific mortgage, so it's free. So we went through the process, and she likes what I did, and so she went. She gonna ask me to go ahead and prepare the listing. So reason again is more you educate the consumer. So I request all the buyer who are visiting the open house, unless you are a seasoned, experienced real estate experienced personality who have done many transactions and you know what you're doing, and you don't want to engage a real estate professional, and you want to be a self-representative party, you have right now. There is no customer service, either represented as a client by the brokerage or designation as a seller representation or buyer representation. You can be a self-represented party. But as a real estate professional, we have a disclosure, consent, and acknowledgement that we have to get from you that we are representing a seller and you are not being represented. You are your own. Whatever risk that is involved, you are taking it. And these are the information that you have to talk about it. Don't rush into engaging them in a sense that you're forcing them or creating an inducement where to sign. Now, because now we have encouragement from the regulator that you should designate a broker in your company brokerage to represent the buyer independent from you. Now in this case, I will tell you another example of that. Let's assume I have a listing and I want to open a house. I talk to my seller that this week I am doing open house, another property. So I'm going to have your consent to send my other broker who will represent you. And this is where a representation, maybe he or she is not designated. I am designated. So I need to have a consent, how long this is open house, and clear instruction to the broker or agent that you will be representing the buyer if they choose to work with you. And as a broker record and complying officer, I am very strict about these things. I want to monitor, check everybody. So we create checklists to make sure everybody is following the procedure. Now, so I need to go talk to my client and say, listen, I am going to, this week, I'm not doing open house in your place. I have designated some other person to do open house. Are you okay with that? You see, there is an obligation to the seller because they are the client. You as a visitor has not chosen unless you love the property and you say, Mr. Qureshi, I want you to represent me too. So now you are telling me to represent you. Before I do anything, first of all, I explained you the RICO information guide, which will take maybe 2 hours. It can be done quicker, but to explain you consequences, and if someone says, I want to be self-representative party, then we have disclosures, acknowledgement, and consent that we are not representing you, you are your own, and we are only protecting the interest of our client, which is the seller in this case. So get used to it. When you're going to open house, do not force. And also as a real estate professional, it's your duty to make sure you explain them. Are you a designated representation doing an open house, or you are replaced by the designated person only to do the open house, and you are strictly told that you cannot represent the seller. You have a potential of representing the buyer, and you give opinion based on the buyer consultation, and once they retain you. So the designated representative will be, for example, me. I will represent the seller. So if someone in the open house is interested about the property, they want to look at the comparable analysis. What's going on in the market area? How much it costs to fix a roof? How much it costs to build a basement? And how much it costs to replace this and that? Their issue comes in competency under TRESA, Code of Ethics. Are you competent to provide an opinion? Unless you have a license. I am a licensed builder with Park Home Builders. I did 7 competency courses to register Park Home Builder as a builder and vendor with Housing Construction Regulatory Authority. From building codes to construction technology to site supervision, planning, and financial matters, I have done all 7 courses through the college. So I am competent to give you opinion about renovation or that because I have a license. I'm part of the license to a builder in Ontario until I have my own license. So I am working with Park Home Builders in this case. So this is why you need other competent professional to give opinion. Somebody say, what would be the appraised value of the property? They are trying to get you to give some opinion. No, you have not signed anything. Have they become your buyer client? They sign a designated buyer representation or buyer brokerage representation. Then you have a point that you can discuss. Until a BRA is signed with the person who's doing an open house, I'm talking about who's doing open house other than the designated seller representation. Because I encourage to comply with RICO guidelines. So if I am listing, if buyer comes in, even my open house, I will recommend one of my brokerage in my office to represent them. And after meeting them, if they are not satisfied, then I can tell them to go to any cooperating broker they like. Because I am only representing the seller. Unless they say, no, Mr. Qureshi, we want to work with you. Why don't you represent us? Then it's become a multi-representation and they want to designate me as a buyer representation. So you see, these things are happening in the open house. And you do not do all this too much conversation there because you need a privacy and you have open house, people are coming in, you're discussing certain things. But you cannot discuss opinion, any guidance, any service you can provide against the law unless he or she become your client. So now when you're going to the open house, go in open mind that I will take the basic information, mostly MLS data sheet. It has quite a bit information. It doesn't have a zoning confirmation. It doesn't have the building basement is legal or not unless there is a certificate or building permit to build the renovation. And this is very important that you have that. Now, informed consent is required for in case you are doing a multiple representation. So you have to remember as a buyer that the hosting agent, whether is the designated person or brokerage representation, seller representation, where anyone in the brokerage can come and represent that, is be multiple representation, that we are here to protect the property. Is very important. We control the traffic into the house and allow enough people to come in. And if you need some assistant, that you need another person to work with you, you make sure you have a consent from the seller that they can allow you. Sometimes I have noticed that some hard properties that we have, many people end up coming. So you take one or two families and you shut the door, and you can respectfully say that until they are out, I cannot allow it because I can manage them. Because if you are a one person, so if you are 2%, then you may be able to handle two properties. Do not allow the buyer to wander around the house. They must be guided by the opening house agent or broker. And you have instructions. If you come to my open house this Saturday, I will have a 137 Bauer Street in Ajax, and you will see a display outside the door before you come in. And it very clearly says you that you will be IDs. If you don't want to be IDs, you will not be allowed in my open house. And then you register as a guest, so I need you. I need your full name, legal name on your driving license, because that's where I identify that you are the right person. The picture is the same as what I see in front of me. Then because I am allowing you, with the consent of the seller, to visit their private home, privacy of the home. So you should be willing to give your correct information. I have noticed in the beginning, lots of people don't do that. They don't show the address. They give you wrong phone numbers. This happened to me in early age of my real estate when I asked them to. So the best thing is, give me the number, and you dial that number, and if it rings right in front of you, then you know this is the right number. Or depending on, I have people who did not like to sign visiting, open house, so I let them go. They're not allowed. If they don't respect the seller's privacy or access to the property, and if they're so interested to come and visit your place, they should. So you need to look at this. If you are an agent who has been designated by the seller to sell your house, and unfortunately you're not able to be there, you designate someone else for that open house, you need to have written consent from your seller. And seller will cooperate because they understand we're human, we always have some activities or something that we have to deal with it, or sometimes we have multiple listing that we have, and especially small brokerage like City Pro Realty Brokerage, we are a boutique brokerage and we customize our service to our clients. So we are limitation in certain areas. So we have brokers, they replace each other, and we get the permission from the seller to conduct that open house. It's all about protecting the interest of a client, privacy of the client under PIPEDA. And our obligation as a real estate professional to protect the property content, because we were there during that open house for 2 hours, normally Saturday 2 to 4 or Sunday 2 to 4. That's a conventional timing. We are allowing strangers we have never seen before to a private home. And this is very important. You will not allow photography to the visiting buyers. Virtual tours, videography is created with the consent of the seller, and is available on MLS, on virtual tour, social media. I share on TikTok, Instagram, the Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, everywhere with the consent of the seller. Therefore, there is no need for you to take the picture without the permission of the talking to the agent. Lots of people come in, they start taking pictures without talking to the agent. And this is why it's very important to avoid that. We're going to take a short break, and we come back and continue topic on visiting a real estate open house.
Q Wireless and Computer. अपने तमाम devices, phones, iPads, टैबलेट्स, मैकबुक्स और लैपटॉप्स के रिपेयर्स और मरम्मत के लिए हमसे आज ही राब्ता कीजिए। हम क्वालिटी एक्सपर्टीज के साथ साथ आपको फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट डायग्नोसिस भी देंगे और डेटा सिक्योरिटी की गारंटी भी। अपने मुफ्त कोड के लिए हमें आज ही कॉल करें 647-350-6606।
Thinking of buying or selling real estate? Call us today. We are one-stop solution provider for your real estate needs. Our commission plans to meet your budget. Buy, sell, or build. We can help. Think of us today. Call us at 905-785-9923. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Thank you.
Welcome to SFK Law, where we're committed to providing legal guidance tailored to your needs. When it comes to real estate law, every detail matters. At SFK Law, we will assist you whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your property. We'll guide you throughout the process with complete transparency.
Whether you're an employer or an employee, our team will provide expert guidance and representation to safeguard your rights and interests. Whether you're an existing business owner or you're looking to buy or sell a business, at SFK Law, we can help you structure the transaction from start to finish.
If you're searching for a lawyer, contact us today to schedule your consultation.
Hi, my name is Manish Sani. I'm running to be your city council for Ward 5, and right now I'm standing at the gateway to Canada. Yes, in our ward is the gateway to Canada. We have so many thousands of people coming in and out of our ward every day, which brings the responsibility on us, the residents of Ward 5. But right now that responsibility, I feel, should be shared. It should not just be ours. It should be all the entire countries and the provinces. Because when you land here, you go through our ward, which of course causes more requirements of services, which I don't feel that at this point we are getting our fair share for. And I'm looking around and I'm going to show you certain zones, certain areas that are going to bring a reality to you, which you've seen, but I want you to see it through my eyes as well. I want you to join me on this journey to making sure that we create the gateway to Canada as it should be, clean, courteous, and making sure that it brings the joy of what Canada is supposed to bring to us. So thank you for everybody for listening to me. I look forward to seeing you on the doors and at the polls, but voting is what's going to make the change. We have to make sure that we vote, bring out the vote to make sure that we can have enough people's voices so Ward 5 can actually flourish the way it should. Thank you so much.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम हामिद अकबर है और मैं कैंडिडेट हूँ वार्ड 5 का मिसिसागा काउंसिल के लिए। इसकी बाउंड्री जो है मिसिसागा वार्ड 5 की, वो स्टार्ट होती है एक्लिंगटन और मेविस के कोने से और जाती है ऑल द वे टू मॉल्टन। मेन रीज़न जो है रन करने का वो ये है कि मैं 3 चीज़ों पे फोकस कर रहा हूँ। सबसे पहला जो है वो रिव्यू ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स है। दूसरा जो है मेरा वो है प्रॉपर रिप्रेजेंटेशन का, हमारी रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं है। तीसरा जो है हमारा जो है इस नो रिमूवल फ्रॉम द कर्ब साइड। तो ये 3 रीज़न जो है मेरे इम्पोर्टेंट है।
Popeyes has opened a brand new location in downtown Vancouver. Satisfy your craving for Cajun at this new location off West Georgia and Hamilton Street, where you'll find all your favorite Louisiana-inspired menu items. We sampled the unrivaled trio of sandwiches, the classic, the deluxe, and the blackened deluxe chicken sandwich, and all were delicious. All of the signature fried chicken is marinated for 12 hours, then hand-battered and breaded, served with Cajun fries and mac and cheese on the side. Plus, for a limited time, you can try Popeye's Crispy Chicken Wrap, available now until September 3rd. Check out the new Popeye's location at 700 Hamilton Street today. Who are you bringing with you? Tag them in the comments.
This is the latest opening in BC for Popeyes, with more openings coming soon in both Alberta and BC by PLK Group.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
अगर आपको दुबई या मिडल ईस्ट नुमा ज़ेवरात की तलाश है, तो आपको दूर जाने की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं। आज ही हमारे मिसिसागा रिचवे स्टोर तशरीफ लाइए। अल करम ज्वेलर्स। हमारे पास सोने के बेहतरीन कंगन, कड़े, झुमके, हार और सोने के सेट्स भी दस्तयाब हैं। शादी हो या मेहंदी या कोई भी फंक्शन, आपकी पसंद के तमाम जेवरात आपको हमारे स्टोर में मौजूद मिलेंगे। आज ही हमारे स्टोर पर तशरीफ लाइए। अल करम ज्वेलर्स, 3465 प्लैटिनम ड्राइव, यूनिट 99, मिसिसागा, या फिर कॉल करें 905-828-0009। अल करम ज्वेलर्स, फरमाइश आपकी, गारंटी हमारी।
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस, जहां आपकी तमाम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस की जरूरियात पूरी होंगी। हमारे पास आपको हर टॉप ब्रांड मौजूद मिलेगा, चाहे वो वर्लपूल हो या एलजी, सैमसंग हो या जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक्स। हम इन सब के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। आइए और हमसे 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ उठाइए। हम आपको तमाम अप्लायंसेस सबसे बेहतर और सस्ते दामों पर फराहम करेंगे, ये हमारी गारंटी है। विजिट आवर वेबसाइट www.dixieelectronics.ca या फिर हमें कॉल कीजिए 905-625-5900. At Dixie Electronics and Appliances, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
HK Movers, home, offices, apartments and delivery, big or small, we move it all.
HK Movers.
Local and long distance, we also ship cars, trailer transport and moving services.
For service with a smile, give us a call.
Call Mr. Harminder 416-524-6704.
416-524-6704 पे.
Visit 140 Advanced Boulevard, Unit number 10, Brampton.
Long distance moving specialist.
HK Movers. HK Movers.
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस, जहां आपकी तमाम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स 5900. At Dixie Electronics and Appliances, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
And welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. My name is Tahir. I'm a fellow of Realty of Canada, broker of record for City Realty Brokerage, and your host on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. You can watch our program on cable network, satellite, and also awazent.com or awazent580. Also, I have uploaded a Realty Coffee Talk channel on YouTube where you can watch this program and provide us feedbacks. The objective of Realty Coffee Talk is to increase awareness and building consumer confidence in real estate and promoting good ethic and business practices. Because our goal is protecting the consumer interest. And this is our not only obligation under the law, under which we are licensed under TRESA, but we also practice ethical practices, professional, honestly, competent, maintain our knowledge, and we are also organized real estate. Canadian Real Estate Association, Ontario Real Estate Association, Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, Mississauga Real Estate Board, and there are so many boards. They have standard code of ethics that you have to follow. Also, you have designations. I'm a fellow of Realty Institute of Canada, and that institute existed more than 70 years. I'm also certified international property specialist, member of NAR, National Association of Realtors in Chicago. I'm also CIPS NAR approved instructor. I'm also approved REIC instructor and Mississauga board instructor. Educating is my passion to make sure that we help you, and so you are not encouraging you or in any way become a conduit of breaking the law. When we are dealing with you are dealing with real estate professionals, you have to remember that the person who is hosting the open house has the responsibility to protect the property during the open house and after conducting the open house, finishing it and closing the property as instructed by the seller. So we are acting on behalf of the seller. So when we ask you to identify yourself, please register, because we have to give update to our client and you need to comply in order for you to see the open house. We get directions from the seller and we obey those instructions in their best interest, lawful instructions. And We set out a policy procedure how people will visit the property. So I have a very beautiful display outside the open house so people can read it and decide it whether they want to come in or not. And lots of people, they come so excited coming open house, they just want to explore. They not be serious, but they are going to enter into a private property of someone. Therefore, they should be willing to sign up. Unless some people say, what is the list price? Whatever price you give them, it's, oh no, it's beyond my budget, they're gone. Some are coming, no, I want to compare this one with the other one. No, this is not for you to compare other one. You came here to learn about this property. And we will give you general information without our opinion. MLS, removing the seller's name, and we give the information sheet. We have a survey, we give you a copy of survey. You have a floor plan, we give you a floor plan. If there is a second dwelling basement, we give you a copy of that. That's okay, because there is no mention of name, and this is what the seller wants us to give. We advertise on social media to attract people because we have a listing agreement, we have a consent for them to advertise, to promote, to bring people here. Now, you always remember the listing agent or hosting agent is representing the interest of the seller unless designated person who is not able to come for this particular open house is being hosted by another agent who is approved by seller and is only will represent the buyer, not the seller. Because if I am the designated seller representative, I am representing the seller, even though I have a brokerage who is authorized to do the open house, but they will be representing the buyer, not seller. So you don't disclose any information with the buyer in order to have this arm's length protocol. So you as a consumer coming to the open house, first thing you need to do is identify yourself. You are not sick, you disclose it. No, I'm not sick, nobody's sick, nobody traveled, everything is okay. Plus, show your ID and register on a guest, and then you take the package information available to you. Now, if you feel that you like the property, the best approach will be to ask the hosting agent that I like to get more information. So you say, okay, send me the RICO guide info. And you send them RICO guide and say, we can set up a time in the evening. While sitting there, I am in the open house, I have my iPad, I can sit there and send out the RICO guide by visiting rico.on.ca, send them the guide. And then say, after open house, if you want to talk about it, we can talk. But only I cannot give you opinion. I gave you all the information that I am by law allowed to give it to you. This is general information. But if you want opinion, you need to have a agreement. So that's why you go and discuss the RICO guideline. And you have a cool time, you understood that, and now you are say, okay, I want to proceed. So you say, okay, now because our practice and policy of the brokerage is that I have to designate another person in my brokerage to represent a buyer. So you do that. If you want me to designate someone, then you can meet. And I already went through the RICO information guide. So this broker or agent in our brokerage will go and meet them and discuss again a RICO guide, and they say, okay, we decided that yes, we can retain the services. Now you have an independent designated buyer representation agreement, and I am representing designated seller representation. So you keep arm's length. So because a small brokerage, we have only 2-3 people. So therefore, it's very important that you set rules so nobody violates it. But it's possible that the buyer wants to hire me to represent the buyer, then I have to follow the consent and approval. So you have to understand it takes time, and you need to explain you. When you are representing a buyer and buyer broker, so buyer broker is responsible to protect you. I am responsible to protect the seller, and we have arm's length protocol to have a good transaction, and we comply with the law, and we are protecting the seller's property and private information, giving access to the property, and locking the house and make sure all people are out, our windows and doors are closed, lights are turned off, and then you are exiting it and you're putting back the key into the lockbox. And we have a digital lockbox. So this is very, very important that when you go to an open house, don't expect too much information from the realtor, because he cannot give you opinion, advice, or provide a service to you unless you engage in a brokerage relationship by engaging and level of service. People talk about the compensation. Now it's open. What type of service you want, and what will be the real estate expectation of compensation for real estate services. You define your services in a BRA. You tell them, and same is in the seller representation or designated seller representation. My schedule now is 3 pages now by listing a property. If I cannot provide a service, I give them alternative. If they don't, we terminate. We do a multiple representation, seller has an option. No, I don't want a multiple representation. Terminate the listing. You have the option. Can you designate another person to perform service for you when you are on emergency leave? If the seller say yes, or client say yes, if you are a BRA, yes, then you do. If you don't, terminate the contract. Because, and disclosures, conflict of interest, everything is now transparent. Now when I do listing or broker, I will clearly say that if you're not happy with my service, 24-hour notice and we terminate the agreement. You know why? You don't want to have a bad relationship with your client. God thanks, not we have a single client that we have let go. We have served our client, we deliver value to our client, and they're a happy customer and client for life. Thank you for watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of Rooster Institute of Canada. If you have any question about this episode, you can call 647-484-0018 or call my direct 416-451-3489 or go to my website realtycoffeetalk.com or my YouTube channel at the rate of Realty Coffee Talk and provide your feedback. We are there to educate you, increase awareness, and building consumer confidence in real estate. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Bye for now. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Bye for now.